Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our next episode is a follow-up on the issue that we have been discussing on the World Peace Day. And in this episode, we specifically want to look at why do we mark the International Peace Day. We mark the International Peace Day because we have 356 days. We have 12 months in a year. We cannot talk about peace every single day, but we do work for peace. We do work for conflict management, for conflict reduction every single day. And this day is specifically to look at the pluses and the negatives that we have gotten in these peace building missions. This is a day that we commemorate the peacekeeping missions in different parts of the world. You know, Kenya is undertaking one of the key programs, which is sending the peace mission workers in Haiti, and Kenyans are very proud of that kind of a mission. We have also, as UN peacekeepers, Kenya has taken part in a number of other peacekeeping missions, and we applaud. This is the day to applaud our military for being the best in peacekeeping missions and to actually do a number of other keeping missions in different parts, including Bosnia, including Somalia, including Congo, including the DRC Congo, and other parts of the world. So we commemorate our peace keeping soldiers, those ones who have lost their lives. We actually feel, we condole with their families, and we wish them all the very best in their process of understanding that once a peacekeeping soldier has left, he can either come back or he might not. So we are with the families and the people from Kenya and the specific counties where we have had a lot of other peacekeeping soldiers who have lost their lives, who have been amputated, who have left when they are whole, but they have come back when they are maybe limping, or they are disabled in one way or another, or even emotionally because of this kind of things. It affects people in different ways. It affects me and you in different ways. So we ask Allah that He humbles us and He gives us the peace that we are looking for. The other thing that makes us celebrate why we mark this day is for public education, where the public issues, like for example, you will have a lot of people talking about Palestine in their different social media, talking about Ukraine, talking about Haiti. So this day specifically helps us to educate the public and to actually improve peace information, so that we don't have a lot of disinformation. You know, with the social media era, we have a lot of information that is either disinformed or misinformed, or some of them are just, you know, because somebody wants to change something, they will put a picture of things that they don't like. So we ask our community, and specifically our Muslim youth and Ummah in general, and our different leadership, to actually continue doing peace education, not only on this day of the International Peace Day, but also across the Friday sermons, the conversations that are having with different groups, so that we don't have a lot of, you know, hopelessness and all that. And we encourage our shuyukhs during these public forums to actually even organize, and if possible, like for example, my time here within Horizon partly is an individual volunteerism, and is also part of the Women in Borderlands. It's an organization I work with, and the organization is basically looking at peace advocacy and peace leadership. So this program could also be sponsored by in conjunction with Horizon, Women in Borderlands, and others. We can organize public days within the public forums with different sheikhs, and then come up with a package where we have a monthly meeting, a monthly conversations, so that we don't have people, you know, falling out of hopelessness, out of devastation. Because once you open your TV and you see, you know, the lives that are being lost, children, women and children being separated, you know, it has a lot of effect on people. People don't know this is emotional derailing. It has emotional impact, and we can even partner with doctors, maybe just have a community day for our people, look at other partners like the Kadhi courts and others, and actually organize a day where people can talk about these issues. They can have their drinks together, that there is hope for tomorrow, so that people really do not feel devastated. So public education is very important. Another key reason why we celebrate this day is to have a global concern. For example, alhamdulillah, in a country like Kenya, we've not had a major religious or gender or other devastation apart from the Gen Z issues that we had at the beginning of last year, 2004, and even early this year. So apart from that, we have relatively had peaceful coexistence and actually peaceful living in Kenya. So this day is being brought so that even if you are at peace in your house, you are sleeping in your room, you don't have anything to worry about, your children are there, your husband is there, your family, your extended family is at peace, you should be aware about other people across the world. So it's a global concern. So the third reason why we celebrate this international or mark this international day is so that even if we are at relatively peaceful and calm position in Kenya, there are other people across the world who are in Haiti, who are in Palestine, who are in Yemen, who are in Syria and other parts of the world who are going through a lot of issues. We also pray for them, and we also pray for what is it called, a normalization of peaceful coexistence, so that we do what our prophet told us: love your neighbor as you love yourself, do good, and Allah will do much for you. So that is why we mark the International Peace Day or the World Peace Day. The other one is a political will, because sometimes you have seen the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, talking about a lot of issues about, talking to the leadership of Israel, talking to the leadership of Palestine and Hamas and other people, and telling them, please, for the sake of the women, for the sake of children, for the sake of the less fortunate in our societies, please come out and have a ceasefire. But, sometimes nobody listens to him. So this day is also to mark a political will, so that the rest of the world, like in Africa, we have 54 countries. If we can get a country like Kenya, and we can get Muslims around this country to really get out of their way, not to be comfortable wherever they are, to get out of their way, to mobilize other Kenyans, to mobilize other Africans, to mobilize East Africa and the rest of the world, to really talk about this global crisis, then we have the political will. And that is why this International UN Day is marked, so that we have a political will to actually stamp and put force to some of these leaders who are not listening to the UN, who are not listening to the ratifications, who are not listening to the resolutions of the UN, to actually be pressured so that they can listen to some of these things. And then the other issue is resource mobilization. So there is no any other way to get the whole world to actually put even a penny, to even actually support a child in Palestine, to support a mother who has been separated, to actually avoid this starvation, what they call the starvation as a weapon of war. Yeah? So the UN is actually calling people to mobilize resources, to call for resources, so that the people who are being bombarded while they are getting their food rations and all that is a humanitarian crisis. We have worked in the humanity, I don't know, maybe before us, but we have been in the UN system, following up projects and programs, supporting different aspects. We have never seen this kind of a thing, starving people to death or using food as a weapon of war is actually against all the UN values. It's against all the UN values, and we ask Allah and we ask the Muslims to do a lot of prayers, so that at least may Allah make this intervention much easier. We support the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres for actually calling out most of the leaders on the issue of using food as a weapon of war. It is against all human rights violation. It is against all our principles, and we urge leaders, and specifically the UN Secretary General, to appeal to Donald Trump, because he's one of the global leaders in the world, to actually bring this to ceasefire. And we hope that the Muslim community will unite and will have their voice to actually bring this peaceful coexistence, and actually to mobilize their people in different masjids, in different forums, in different institutions to actually come up with love your neighbor as you love yourself policy, so that we don't overlook this kind of devastation that is going on in the world. Last but not least is just a global process that will lead to solving global problem. It's a global process that will lead us to addressing a global problem. So once we mark this International Peace Day, or the World Peace Day by the UN, it helps us to put in our calendars that we have a global problem, which is actually devastation of human beings, children, and inequality across board, discrimination, and crisis in terms of the social media use, and how can this actually lead us to bringing programs, projects, activities, volunteerism in our masjids and in our lowest and lowest levels, so that we can overcome this kind of a problem. So I would want to finish by saying, act now. We don't have anybody else that you're waiting for. Act now and overcome this kind of a problem. The UN General in particular, and the UN in particular, for the last 77 years has been working on peace missions. 77 years. We are not talking about only today as an issue of Palestine or an issue of Muslims. There's always have been conflict. There's always been discrimination of one group against the other. And we are telling all Kenyans in general, today it is Palestine, tomorrow it could be you. Today it is me, tomorrow it could be you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Let's pull our efforts and our energy together, our resources, our public issue advocacy, spark conversations, so that we can actually address this global crisis that is in the Middle East once and for all. Jazakallah khaira wa antum bi khair.